W131. This is going to be a little bit longer than usual lecture, so sit tight, please. We've got a lot to cover. The pedal is really hitting the metal now. We're getting kind of beyond the project stuff for a little bit, and we're moving into some just straightforward writing. It's fun writing. It's memoir writing. Okay, it's the easiest form of writing, but it gives me a chance to see how well you're doing with issues like paragraphs and transitions and what your own level of writing skill is, and gives me an idea of how I need to kind of tailor my own help towards you specifically as an individual student. Okay, so that said, the lectures this week are unusually important. Particularly, you need to start with items in the learning module 4.4, okay? This is in the Unit 1 lectures, item 4. So item 4.4 is how to format a college paper. This is really critical. If you look good, you are good. That's the rule, okay? You always need to look professional in all walks of life, in the same way with turning your papers. They need to look professional, okay? They need to look correct. And that kind of predisposes your profs in all your classes to think you're a good writer, okay, if you turn in the paper correctly. So be sure to look at item 4.4 very carefully, how to format a college paper. Okay, item 4.5 is a fun lecture just on the writing process. Writing's a process. It's not a product, it's a process. You continually work on it, you continually think about it, okay? Item 4.6 is a lecture I wrote on writing transitions. Transitions are simply the way you make a paper flow. They're the way you make a paper feel organized, okay? Then item 4.7, I think, is the most important lecture I give to any class all year. It's about understanding paragraphs. It's a fun lecture. It includes a lot on Stephen King, okay? He's a brilliant writer and has written a brilliant book about writing, okay? And so paragraphs are the root of all good writing. So please watch that lecture multiple times. Now, that said, you're turning in a week from now, okay, next Monday night, a literacy memoir. I explained that very, very carefully in the item 6.3. That's called the literacy narrative. Tells you the due date. Right before item 6.3 is item 6.2, which is the self-help opportunity. It's a quiz, but it's a learning quiz. It walks you through some of the processes of writing a good paper, okay? It kind of tells you what I'm looking for. Take it. It's a fun quiz. It's a learning quiz. It's interactive. It teaches you something by taking it. It's not graded. Just take it for fun. I think you'll enjoy it, okay? So, back to the literacy narrative itself. It's also called a memoir. A narrative is a memoir. You're kind of just writing, okay? You're writing about yourself. That's what makes it a memoir. I give you complete details and examples in item 6.3.1. I give you the specific criteria in there, item 6.3.1.1. Item 6.3.1.2 is the rubric. The rubric is the way I actually grade your paper. Okay, it's not the comments I make, but it's the way I look at it and divide it into its parts and award points accordingly. The rubric teaches you something. So before you write the paper, look at the rubric, okay? That'll help you write the paper. Then I give you specific examples. I show you students' work from last semester, students who did really good on this project. I show you their work, all right? And then I show you my own literary narrative in item 6.3.1.3.2. It's all there in the table of contents for the learning module, okay? All the material you need for this class is there. You have to hunt for it. I understand that, okay? So one thing you'll notice from the student examples and my own examples is we all told small stories. We tried to focus very, very hard on a small part of our lives. This is only a 2-page paper, okay? It's really a no-brainer, all right? So we tried to focus, and good focus makes for good writing. I say that elsewhere, all right? Now, the complicated thing, and it's a little bit more complicated than I thought, and I'm sorry. Peer review, okay? I give you a lecture that I had written recently, all right? Actually, I spoke it, okay, but I did it on note cards first. Item 6.3.2.1, it's right there in the learning module, 6.3.2, then the items underneath it. Understanding peer review. Please look at that multiple times. Peer review is a two-way street. I explain and I tell you exactly in there what I want you to be looking for as you're reading other students' papers, and I give you specifically the goals. So please, please, please look at that. That said, you must submit your paper to your group, okay? I'm going to repeat that. You must submit your paper to your group. And to find that group, you go over to the left-hand side of Blackboard. That's where really all the good stuff is, all right? And you look at those blue buttons, and you'll see that I have installed a button called Peer Review Groups. And when you press on that button, voila, I'm pressing, your peer review group will come up. Now these peer review groups only have about 10 students in it. There are over 60 in the class. Okay, so there's 6 groups, and you're in one of them, and yours will just show up right away. So you click on your group, literacy, narrative, peer review, and then whatever number it is. And the first thing you'll see when you do that is you'll see everybody else who's in the group, so you know who your peers are. Okay. Then as you go down that list, underneath that list is something called Group Tools. Okay, Group Tools. I'm sorry, it's so complex. Click on that. That says Group Discussion Board. So peer review is a discussion. Keep that in your head. Peer review is a discussion. Just doesn't show up in that discussions. It only shows up under peer review groups. All right, the blue button called peer review groups. Click on Group Discussion Board, and then that'll take you to a link that says literacy, narrative, peer review, and the number of the group you're in again. Okay, click on that link, literacy, narrative, peer review, and then it says create thread, just like it normally does for discussion forum. So you create your thread. You post your paper there. Say, hey, here's my paper. Submit it as an attachment. All right. Then, when other students have their work submitted there, you start going down through them and review them, please. And I gave you the outline in the table of contents. Okay. Understanding peer review is exactly what I'm asking you to help your students with. Okay. This is meant to be somewhat informal, but it's meant to be helpful. Please help other students. The biggest complaint I get is, well, nobody really helped me. Okay. Everybody just said my paper is great. That's not helpful. Okay, the purpose of peer review is to get a reader's opinion of your paper before you submit it to me. Because I really am going to grade this harshly. I really am. I'm giving you the opportunity to go through peer review. I will not be in there. You've got 2 weeks to work on this. So at the end of 2 weeks, I expect you to submit to me a really, really, really polished paper. No errors. I expect it to be 2 full pages long, okay? I expect the paragraphs to be good, the topic sentences to be good, because you've had all this help. You've had 2 weeks worth of help, plus all my brilliant lectures, that kind of thing. So, I think I've rambled on long enough. As usual, you know how to get a hold of me, please. Please go through the table of contents carefully in the learning module. Please find the material I'm referring to. Please participate in peer review. Please turn in a good paper to peer review, and then turn in an excellent paper to me. Sometimes your paper is too short. Peer review, give each other ideas how to make your paper longer. The way you make it longer is you add more detail to the paragraphs. You don't add stuff at the end of the paper. Once your paper is written, it's done. Don't ramble on anymore. That's enough. Okay. Go back into your paragraphs, add the detail, add the illustrations, add the examples, add the commentary, that kind of thing. Make sure the reader can see what you're writing about. That's the essence of all good writing, not just memoir, narrative writing, but all good writing. So hey, I rambled on enough. Enjoy.